ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we have what we're watching, of course, and then our main review is going to be the Fabelmans. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by Arizona native Nathaniel Gingrich.
Am I a native? I wasn't born there.
Okay, what would you call it? Well,
that's news to me.
No,
yeah,
I think you remember you here. I remember hearing
Cali.
that. Yeah.
I was born in Sacramento, and I lived in California until I was 6, and then I moved. I grew up in Arizona. I was very similar to Spielberg in that sense, I guess, where he moved there kind of in his formative years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but
do you consider yourself an Arizona native then? Should I or not?
I don't know. Can I claim that? I mean, somewhat. I feel like I did grow up.
Well, from
there,
what age range? Yeah, you grew up there. What age range were you there for?
6 to 19.
Okay, yeah, that's all of your cognitive years. I feel like that is the core of Nathaniel Gingrich. I feel like that's fair to call you a native at that point.
Yeah,
what do I know? I mean,
can I still claim am I a native from California though too? Still, or is 0 to 6
dual citizenship? We'll leave it at that.
Dual nativity.
Dual nativity. Yep. Also joining us today is Ditch Day Tyler Verdalis.
What's going on?
Did y'all have ditch days in high school? Like a senior ditch day?
Other than the one that was deemed senior ditch day, yeah.
Right.
Well, I knew Tyler was probably gonna say some shit like that, and that's why he was given ditch day tie. But I meant, like, did you guys have like an official one, like kind of in this movie where it's like everyone ditches on one specific day? Yeah. There's a lot of controversy around mine.
I think we were supposed to, but we didn't. Or something again, because like I think the seniors did the prank the day before or something, and it was too far or whatever.
One of those.
And so they were like, no senior ditch.
There was.
I will say, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna just tag on. There was one year at my high school where the senior prank was to put like lubricant on the stairs, one set of stairs, and it was funny. It was funny up until one of the pregnant teachers slipped and fell.
Yeah.
That was a couple years before mine. So,
yikes.
What were you gonna say, Ty?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I was just saying we definitely did senior prank day, and then we have a senior ditch day, but we do like community service for like the first like 4 hours, and then we just don't go back to school.
Okay.
So it's like the whole town's like cool with it. So it's not like you know what I mean. It's like you're ditching, but like
It sounds like a Catholic school thing.
We have a Catholic school in our town, but
I
definitely did not go to Catholic school. I'd be way different.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Volunteering on ditch day sounds like it's such a Catholic school, like a private Catholic.
Yeah,
school.
I had a lot of friends at the Catholic school, but that's because I played junior high football with all them, gotcha. And then we all split.
Gotcha. One of your separate ways. And rounding out the squadron, of course, is Big Benny BlakeHolder.
That's me. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Not much.
What up?
Yeah.
How's
everybody's Christmas? I know we kind of spoke about it briefly, but
yeah, I think we're all in very similar spots from like going around and just the pre-pod banter. I think we're all just kind of brain exhausted, brain dead a little bit. Just from everything leading up to the holidays, and then holidays can be relaxing, but then there's also some stress involved, at least on my end with family. There, my extended family especially is like, oh crap, which is like, it's not bad. It's just like, I only see these people a couple times. Yeah, I only see these people a couple times a year, so there's always so much pressure on it when you do see them. Mm-hmm. And then with Christmas Day, it was just. That was actually really nice. Christmas Day was great. But I don't know, just everything leading up to finals, just grinding for those 3 weeks before I came home, and then having to finish my like final project and staying up for so long, and then like working 40 hours a week once I came home, and then the whole, I don't know, it's compounded into like a lot. just a
Absolutely.
lot. And I think we're all kind of feeling that a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely an accumulation over the last couple weeks, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
But good Christmas Day. Got a lot of movies
Great,
for the
great
lads
Christmas Day.
as well too. Some fun ones for the upcoming year that I'll be able to talk about on the pod for sure.
Yeah.
And we still need to do Back Row Banter. Or at least
We do.
That's what I heard.
Next,
Anyway.
Back Row Banter. He sent me a message. He said the Arctic storm, it delayed him a little bit.
Bomb cyclone.
Yeah. And so he said everything's been back ordered. He's had issues with the supply chain stuff. So he said next week is when he's gonna try to stop by the studio. So yeah, we'll do that. But I mean, I don't know about you guys. I got gifted quite a few movies. And a movie related gift that I showed you guys. But I'll probably get to that.
I saw the collection. It looks good, man.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll go over that and what we're watching. You know, we could get like what we got, what we gifted, what we were gifted. Yeah, we'll do a little mini segment of that
For sure.
Because I got some movies, and then I'm sure you guys got some too.
I think if it's movie related, I think that's fair game.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like tell you about this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm now gonna tell you about the self-cleaning water bottle that I got, which I did get. It's awesome. I love it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's got a UV light, and then you press at the top, and then it cleans it for like 3 minutes, and so it takes out all like, prevents like the mildew taste or smell from building up. So you still got to clean it, obviously, but like it makes it cleaner and not smelly and stuff. So I was very happy.
Oh my god.
Blake's real excited.
No, this guy just beat me, and it was like the worst way I could have lost the game, and like he actually did it. Couldn't believe me. But I am interested in the Christmas gift, fellas.
Yeah,
so good.
Down. But everyone had a good holiday. I feel like I talked for most of that part. I feel bad.
No, yeah, it was great.
No,
it was a good time.
Cool. We might sound a little bit different, all of us actually. I don't know how this sounds at all. I did my best to mix the levels beforehand, but Nathaniel went to family. Did a little oopsie, forgot the mixer, as he's been so good at doing for 130 episodes. So I think he's earned a right to kind of forget once.
I agree. Yeah,
we'll give him a pass.
Sure.
Who
Appreciate
doesn't?
Appreciate that, boys.
Real fucking nice.
So I was able to get the mixer from friend of the pod, Brandon Wozni. And so we're kind of but I didn't have the mic I needed. I don't know. There's a big kerfuffle before the podcast started. I think it sounds fine. It might not sound as good as it usually does for at least Nathaniel, but I don't know. We're recording audio. That's what matters. Not going to be the best sounding episode, but not going to be the worst sounding episode. That goes to episodes like 1 through 12. They're 1 through 10. I don't remember what those were, but when we just had the mic on a stick.
Rough, for sure.
Yeah. Just raw, just passion, just pure passion.
It was so much fun.
It was. Yeah. It was easier that way. Where we just stick a mic on a stick and then put it in the middle of the table, and then still our most downloaded episode, which is horrendous to say, because I think if people heard it now, if we released our first episode with the quality we have now, I think it'd go a little bit different. But you got to start a podcast somehow, and that's the solution we came to without investing $400 immediately in a speaker or in a mixer.
We were young and dumb and brave.
Yeah.
And now we're old and bitter.
Now we're 130 episodes, battle hardened, and still
we're
rocking.
vets in this game.
Yes, yes we are. Well, we could just cruise right into I guess what we're watching. We don't have any news or trailer talk this week, which is so much less stressful. I couldn't imagine this week if I had like find time to do a show notes. Like, I love it. I like actually just didn't have to like do that much. So, Nathaniel, you mentioned you got to, or you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't before we do what we're watching, let's just do movie related stuff that we got for Christmas.
So, my family, for probably since I've been 16, gets me like a shoebox full of movies.
Yeah.
Every year.
Smart.
Just what goes on for like Black Friday and stuff. So this year I got Animal House, Scarface in 4K, The Batman, obviously, Jurassic World Dominion, Casino, Scorsese's.
Okay.
Wizard of Oz in 4K. The original Frankenstein, Dracula, and Wolfman all in 4K as well too. Power of the Dog, the Criterion one that came out last year. Patriot Games, Hell or High Water, Singing in the Rain in 4K.
This list just keeps going.
Yeah, Rear Window as well too. So
that's awesome.
Did you throw Dominion out?
I'm sorry?
Did you throw Dominion out?
No, I didn't. I did not. I put it in a safe space where you can't find it, sir. But yeah, that is, like I said, my family gives me the box of movies, and then I often just recommend movies for my family members to buy me for Christmas. And as we've talked about recently last week too, a lot of those are also birthday/Christmas gifts too, because this is really the time of year where I receive gifts.
Get both, yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, that was what I got in terms of movies. Do you want me to go through what we're watching, or
let's do Christmas movie gifts first, okay. And then we'll do a round of that, and then we'll do the round of what we're watching. Blake, Ty, did either of you guys get some movies or movie
I did not. I typically don't get too many movies anymore. Just because, I mean, I have A-list. Yeah, well, I mean, streaming is a big thing too, but like even like new movies, like A-list, just honestly, dude, I've seen so many movies
for sure
in theaters ever since they opened back up, and I'm just hyped. So, but I got a couple of like animated related like shirts and like little things, but yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, same here. I didn't get anything movie related this year. Usually, I mean, sometimes I may catch something or video games, but a bulk of my gifts this year were honestly just things for my condo. So like vacuum, candles.
Yeah. Cooking utensils.
Yeah, just things that like I just put off of not buying. Like the fact that I didn't buy a vacuum in 11 months is crazy, but like my mom's like, here you go. So
wait,
cool.
you haven't had a vacuum this entire time?
No, it's wood floors though, so I was able to just sweep everything. It wasn't like I was crazy. Yeah,
I was about to say, I'm like, how dirty are those floors right now, bro? Like, you look at Best Buy, you can get it cheaper.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that's the context of that one. So I was able to sweep and kind of like mop and swift, but yeah, no vacuum. So shout out to moms.
Shout out to moms, gifting vacuums.
Shout out to moms.
What about you, man? We saw your list.
Yeah, I did send it in. I couldn't contain myself. I had to send in at least the one gift that I got from the aforementioned Scott Schwartz, who then had a rough rest of his day the other day.
Yeah,
but anyway,
no kidding.
A few years ago, I don't know if I've told this story on pod. A few years ago, I gave Scott what was deemed and was, it was rivaled by this gift, but was deemed as the best gift ever given at a Schwartz Christmas, which was a big honor, I'm very proud of that. But it was 2018 or 2019. I think it would have been 2019. But A Star Is Born is my brother's favorite movie of all time, and this was around the time that it came out, about a year or so after it had come out. So I got him a full-sized movie poster and then framed it, and then gave it to him for Christmas, and he absolutely loved it because it was just, it's one of those things. It's not on his list, but it's something that like he didn't even think of that he wanted, and then he loved it. So he kind of did a similar thing for me this year, where he got me something kind of as in return for such a special gift, like that, where it's not something you kind of asked for. It's something that I thought of, and it was kind of thoughtful like that. So he got me a signed photograph of J.K. Simmons from Whiplash, and so it's a frame of him from Whiplash, and it's authenticated with his signature.
Signed by J.K. Simmons.
So it's signed by J.K. Simmons, a photograph of him from the movie, signed by J.K. Simmons himself, authenticated with his signature's authenticated and everything. So yeah, I opened it up, and I didn't even see the photo or anything at first. All I saw was the J.K. Simmons certificate of authenticity or whatever, and I was like, I know exactly what this is about to be, and my jaw just dropped. I was like, no fucking way, he just got me this. So I opened that up, and then that was awesome. That was good to get that, because that's been my favorite movie for a while now, and it continues to be. And J.K. Simmons, man, what an actor. Love and miss that guy. I wish he was in more stuff. He's in a decent amount. I just wish he was in more.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Keep J.K. Simmons employed.
Yeah, please.
That's what we were
please,
folks.
Yes. Dude, still, I think he's still jacked, and he's still like 80 years old. He's like 70.
Well, he had to get rejacked for, Batman v Superman, and then that just never panned out.
Yeah, yeah, true, it did not. Who knows? Maybe James Gunn is like, you're still Gordon.
You know what? We need that J.K. Simmons.
We do need that J.K. Simmons. But as far as movies go, I didn't get quite as many as Nathaniel, but I got Midsommar, pod favorite, personal favorite. My friend called me a psychopath for having that on DVD. I sent him a list of the movies that I got, and he's like, "You have Midsommar on DVD, you psychopath." I was like, "What can I say?" The Batman, Dune, Bullet Train, of course, another pod favorite, and Starship Troopers, yet another pod favorite. Those are probably, we reviewed all 5 of those on pod, and those are probably 5 of my favorite movies that we've ever reviewed. So I'm very happy to have those.
It's a good list.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those, all of those are within the top. What? I think the highest one would be Bullet Train, but that still is in the top 40, right?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
I don't know where Bullet Train landed. It might be a little bit lower than that because we just have so many.
As far as your friend saying you're a psychopath for having Midsommar on DVD, I'd have to disagree. I also have Midsommar on DVD, so I don't know, man. Or he's onto something, right?
Or he's onto something and we just can't see it. We're just too blind to it.
Yeah, what would be the movie that if you walked into someone's house and they had a copy of it just sitting there and you were just like...
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh... Requiem? That's the one for you?
Yeah, that's the one that I think of that movie and I go, I don't know if I'll ever need to rewatch that movie.
It would definitely be if I walked in and someone had a physical copy of that Ari Aster, The Weird Thing About the Johnsons, the 30-minute short film.
Yeah, and it's like, and not only that, it's like not like a retail version. It's like he burned it onto a CD of his own.
And then like, you can't physically get that. So to do that, you're like, you're different. Man.
And then he printed out his own little movie cover for it. And
he burned or did the thing. Remember when computers used to be able to do that too? Yeah. Or etch it into it or whatever.
Yeah.
I say that like they can't anymore. We just don't use disk drives.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good movie haul though, for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Way to go. I
need to figure out if my Xbox will let me play DVDs now, because I think I told you guys about this. When I first got my new Xbox, the Series X, I put in 9 days to watch it for when we reviewed it actually, and the audio wouldn't work. There was like no audio, and I was looking it up, and like there's a problem between my LG OLED specifically and Xboxes where like this HDMIs just don't work for the Blu-ray app. And I don't know if they've ever fixed it. I haven't tried since because I'm just like, well, I have all these movies digital copy anyway.
Right.
And so like I usually just watch them on Vudu now because I haven't really felt like trying. But now that I have all these movies, I'm like, I want to go back and like watch them on the actual DVD. And I got to figure out if my Xbox work. If not, I guess it's just time to buy a 4K player. I don't know.
It's that time.
It is that time. Well, we can do the actual we're watching list here. Now we got through that.
Oh, is that what all 6 times for?
Yes, it is. Let us know what you guys got for DVD wise for Christmas or the holidays. We'd love to know because if maybe it's something we haven't watched. If it's something you have on DVD that we think is worth watching, or you think it's worth watching, maybe we should check it out. So there was honestly holidays great time to buy DVDs. There's such good sales. I think Dune. I remember seeing at the store. Dune was like $15, like brand new 4K movie. I've gotten like so many good deals.
Most of those movies that I listed on there for my stuff were under like $5 to $8 in the 4K version.
Yep.
That's why I sent them all to my family.
Yeah, that's just I don't know how they I don't know why they do that, but I love it.
Yeah. For a second, Nathaniel, when you hit the chat referencing if anyone's seen Pearl, I thought you were going to say you got Pearl.
I thought so too. That was that.
Yeah, and I was going to be like, oh, you have to let me know how that is, man. I've been close to buying that on digital on Vudu for like.
That's exactly what was happening. Is I was looking through it and I want to watch this. Where can I see it? And it was like it was only on digital and it was only like $20, and I had to buy it like sight unseen. And I was just like, I don't know 100% if I want to go in on this too. And it was before Christmas, so I didn't know if anyone was going to get it for me or anything like that. But yeah, Still waiting to see that one. I definitely want to check it out though.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I haven't checked out.
I've only heard good things. Apparently, they're making a third one as well too.
Really?
So I do want to find out.
I think.
Yeah.
I think the third one is Maxine. I thought was the name of it or something of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It seems good. Everything from what I've seen, most people say that Pearl is the better film than X.
That's what I've heard too.
I just think it's probably just not as gory and like a straight up slasher.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Different horror elements that we may like.
I don't even think X was as like the slasher elements of X. I don't think were like stand out for me. So
I mean,
they were good.
The first scene where she kills the guy in front of the van is like pretty gruesome.
Yeah,
Sure.
you get the pitchfork to the eye.
The pitchfork of the eye is the one I was like,
there's a few. Yeah, there's a few in there, Adam.
Although these are all good, but to me those were all like super predictable. I don't know.
Okay, I got you.
Like the pitchfork through the eye I saw coming as soon as he was like walking up to that door.
Well, yeah, that's half the fun with that movie. But I also think too, Adam, that you are no longer a casual viewer of horror movies.
I'm not.
We've corrupted you.
I'm not. In fact, at Christmas Eve, my dad's family's over, and my uncle's, I have a conversation with my uncle, and then he asked my brother, he's like, "Hey, how's your podcast?" I'm just kind of look back and forth. And my brother goes, "No, that's his." He's like, "Really? I thought you always loved movies. What happened? How did you get the But anyway, he's like, "Well, so what's your he's just trying to ask me to think of questions to ask me about it. So he's like, "So what's your favorite genre to review?" And I was like, I don't really know how to answer that. So I was just like, well, at first my other uncle chimes in. He goes, "Porn." And so I was like, okay, yeah, right. I was like, cool. So
for a second, can you just imagine how crazy of a podcast that would be, though?
Oh, if you had to review something like that,
it's got to be out there,
just
right?
ranking porns. Yeah, I'm sure it is out there, Nathaniel. But those guys, you talk about psychopaths. That is.
I have maybe an off pod.
Unique bunch.
I have maybe an off pod story that tangentially relates to that. So I don't know if I really want to say it on pod. So you can ask.
I know there was a guy at my college a couple of years after I went there that was reviewing porns as like his online thing, and he got like interviewed in the school newspaper about it because they were like, "Hey, you're doing this," and he was like, "Yep," and just like open about it. He was just like, "Hey, it's cool. Like that's what I do.
Okay,
I just contribute to porn reviews," and I was like, "More power to you, bro.
Yeah.
Find what you love in life, and you'll never work a day in your life." Right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyways, what we're watching? Should we talk about that?
Wait, where was? But no, sorry, it's the podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
But I answered. I was like, well, I love the dramas, like Oscar level movies. But I was like, at this point, my two buddies love horror, and I had to explain to them. I was like, I've just gotten so much more into horror. I never really liked it before I started the podcast, but we would talk about it all the time now, and started really to enjoy it and how it can kind of the horror as an art form. And there's a lot to scaring people. And I think it's a little underrated in that. So had a bit of a conversation about that. I've come around on horror fully.
Ayo.
So there you go. Yes, Nathaniel, what you're watching?
Yeah. So like I said, I've actually been watching a bit.
That's what, yeah.
Started off right before Christmas with a little Kubrick Christmas movie called Eyes Wide Shut.
Of course.
So that's I think that's 99. It's Kubrick's final movie. It's Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and they are dating, or they're married in the movie. They're married in real life at the time as well too. And Nicole Kidman kind of her character describes to Tom Cruise a fantasy she had about one point maybe cheating on him, and he kind of loses it and decides that he's going to go out on the night and like try and find a woman kind of thing too. But he ends up in kind of a cult somewhere and can't quite figure out what's going on. So it's it's Kubrick. It's amazing. Really, really weird. Very interesting tone to set it at Christmas too, because you have Kubrick also using all those Christmas lights in the background and stuff as his natural mood lighing and stuff too.
Gotcha.
So the movie itself doesn't really look. It's very dreamlike in general, and kind of that weird Christmassy sheen to it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. It's on Netflix for I think a couple more days, but that was on my list. And then I've seen Glass Onion 2 more times.
2 more times?
I watched it once at the apartment, and then I got home here, and my brother and my mom were watching it, and I was like, okay, well, sitting down and enjoying this one again. So,
Nice.
then I watched one of my new movies that I got, Hell or High Water, with
I haven't
Jeff
seen
Bridges,
that one, and it's
yeah,
another one of those ones I scroll by all the time, like add to my watch list, and it never gets watched.
yeah, it is. It was that movie for me for a long time as well too. But it is it's really really good. If any of the guys haven't seen it, I think Tyler, you of anyone might be the one that has seen it. It's
been a while, but yes,
yeah, it's by the guy that created Yellowstone as well too. So very much, and wrote Sicario as well too. But like very much that kind of Texas, Southern U.S. Vibe, and kind of how that's changing, and everything that's going on with that. It's a really good movie. It's got Chris Pine, Ben Foster, Jeff Bridges, like I said. Just a really, really well done kind of heist, but also drama as well too. It's definitely worth a watch, I think. I think it's kind of a cut above your what was that one that we watched, 999 or whatever, kind of in the same realm as like The Town. I would say it's close in quality to The Town, in kind of a different setting for sure.
Gotcha.
I watched Quiet Place. That was my brother's pick last night for movie to watch.
One or two?
So the first one. Okay. Mom hadn't seen it yet, so we went through that one.
nice.
And yeah, we've talked about that on the pod a lot. I have to be in kind of the right mood, I think, for that movie at this point in my life.
Sure.
But it is, still enjoyable, still a good time. It's not my favorite of kind of those mainstream horror movies that have gotten really big over the last few years, but it's still, effective for what it goes for.
Mm-hmm.
And then we watched Singing in the Rain last night as well too. So it's probably been since high school since I've seen that movie, and God, the movie's incredible. Just seeing the physicality of the dancers and the and just the musicians and the singers in that movie, and just how like the effort they had to go through, and the fact that it's really them. It's not stuntmen, it's not CGI, and it's just how things were made back then. Is just impressive to watch, and it's really funny. I've forgotten how funny it was too. So definitely enjoyed that. Definitely just a feel good classic. And the last thing I got to was Rear Window as well too, which is another little bit of a classic as well too. It's come up on the pod a couple times now.
Yeah, Blake got that from Back Row Banter last year. Blake, have you had a chance to watch that yet?
Oh, that's right.
No, I haven't, and I actually put it in at one point this year.
Yeah.
But then I just wasn't in the right space because it was an older film, and I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, that is I probably haven't seen that one for 10, 15 years now at this point. I forget how much of an asshole Jimmy Stewart is.
He is, dude. He's a dick.
He's such a dick.
He's a big asshole.
Yeah, he's just the worst to her for like the first 30 minutes of the movie. And then as soon as she's like, oh yeah, this could be a murder, he's like, yes, please join me, my side detective. But yeah, still, I mean, it's Hitchcock doing Hitchcock, and Jimmy Stewart, Grace Kelly, just an incredible movie overall. So what I think, the boys will enjoy at some point as well too. Blake, still think you're gonna like it.
I would love to get that on pod. And Nathaniel, I still have to try. I'm trying to actually looking right now to see if I have any photos from my balcony, because I think I mentioned even last week on pod.
Oh yeah, you're talking about
of how my apartment balcony. I kind of have an example. Maybe I'll just send it in the chat. My apartment balcony is like looking into a courtyard, and it just reminds me directly of Rear Window.
Rear Window.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's been what I've been watching.
Cool. There's a lot of you watch a lot of movies I really want to get to.
Yeah, it was been a good kind of couple days for that stuff. My mom told me that when after the holidays, I do this every year. I go into what she calls the movie cocoon, where I just
well, it wasn't
and absorb movies.
It was only 2 years ago now that New Year's Day we just sat down and watched 14 episodes of Evangelion.
Yeah, we definitely put some work in on that one that time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tyler, what you been watching?
A few things. So I've been continuing on my Naruto Shippuden, and I just can't express enough how good Naruto is, but Shippuden is just like on another level, and it's insane. So that's been dope to kind of relive. Will and Grace has also been kind of kept on the track. I had a really, really great experience. My buddy Rob, some of you may know.
I do know Rob.
He came home for the holidays, and we hung out, and I was like really, really happy. So I actually got him and Leah to watch Bullet Train, both their first watch. Not mine, obviously.
Good pick. Goes over well with most people.
Yeah. It's not too gory either, which is usually where Leah's kind of like, this is dumb.
It's borderline. It gets close.
Yeah. 100%. So that was really fun. We had our first major snow of the year. So most of you that know me and Carolia, you know that means we had watched Frozen.
I saw your Snapchat story. Yeah.
And then I have continued to find myself at the movie theaters to watch Pandora. Well, Avatar, The Way of the Water, another 2 times. So I'm now seeing it 3 times. Yeah.
I have yet to go back to see it, but I know for a fact I will.
Yeah. Yeah, I still like it. I still have I see it. The more I see it, the more I'm kind of like, is this better than the first one?
I kind of think it could be.
I think it is.
It's hard, man.
It's
definitely hard.
It is hard.
But
it's much more personal than you.
Yeah, there's times where I find it so redeeming and just like really well rooted, and it doesn't take any, if anything, it's one of those things that I think is going to grow to where I think this makes one better and one makes this better.
Yeah.
So yeah, just learn it. Other than that, it's been Christmas stuff and running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I did ask Rob to be in my wedding party, and I also asked Justin to be my best man. So those were 2 pretty good little gifts to give out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sure Justin will give a mediocre speech at best.
Nah, he'll be all right.
No, he'll be good. He'll be good.
I think this is like the one thing he'll be like.
He'll actually.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Yeah. True,
you know, you got to have something. You got to have something in the back pocket for some shit like that.
Yeah.
If he does want to have someone proofread it, though.
He did
some peer review.
I guess he's got like a lot of it done already.
Hell yeah.
So he actually has Sam proofreading
of course,
it.
yeah. Sam's great. Yeah, she'll do that.
So,
That's
which is funny because I was like, I mean, I guess you can like have somebody proofread it, but like honestly, it's not like somebody else is trying to read it. And if your grammar sucks, at least you know it's you.
Yeah, definitely true.
So, but yeah. Other than that, I got nothing. Blake, what have you been up to?
Real quick to kind of double back on speeches and whatnot for weddings. So one of my best friends, his older brother just got married. I mean, when I say just got married, this is probably 3 months ago or so. But nonetheless, he had to go up there and give a best man speech, and he was saying that was one of the most like nerve-wracking situations he's ever.
I've given a best man speech.
How'd you like it? Nervous?
No,
you just fucking. Did you wing it or did you go up there with like?
Nah, yeah, I winged it.
You winged
it? No way, I could
he
not.
Went up there with a few bullet points, like obviously kind of written in his phone, but then he was like, for the most part, I just fucking winged it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was funny because it was like the first wedding that Lee and I went to, and I was not expecting my buddy to ask me, but we got pretty close, you know, and he's one of my guys. Yeah. But he asked me to be his best man, and it was the first wedding that Lee and I went to as we were like becoming a couple, and we got done, and she's like, I fucking hate you. And I'm like, why? And she's like, not in a million years could I get up and give like a maid of honor speech
Right.
off the rip.
Off the top, yeah. That is
And
impressive.
it's
I'm not gonna
impressive.
lie.
do a good job. And so she's like, I can't. She's like, you're stupid.
I'm not gonna lie, that is a very impressive feat.
I
don't think I have that one in my
I don't know if I could
Like,
give
we
a
were
good.
talking about it earlier. I'm not a quiet person, and so I think that's kind of one of my gifts, that I can at least hold the attention of a room for a little bit.
Yeah.
I could not give a good speech off the top of my head, and I could probably give a okay speech prepared. I feel like it'd be tough. I mean, I could definitely give a good one prepared. It's just like
Yeah.
public speaking is not in front of like a lot of people is not my strong suit, especially strangers like that.
Sure.
Because there's gonna be tons of people you don't know.
I know anybody.
And that's a huge moment for whoever
That might have to take some of it off for you.
maybe. But I don't know. I
It
there's
does.
just I feel like there's so much pressure on those two speeches that it'd be tough to do it off the top like that.
For sure. You just kind of got to hit those key points, right? I mean, you got to get
True.
something heartfelt to get people involved. You got to have a few jokes in there just to kind of like test the room. You know what I mean? Check the temperature
course,
of the room.
yeah.
If you get a joke that goes over well, I think it's like, whew, it's a sigh of relief.
Yep.
Then you're in the
Yeah.
clear. Then
Allow
you can just
yourself
fucking
some
wing it
time.
after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't act like I didn't like black out during the whole thing though. Like I have no idea what I said.
I don't
Sure. Oh yeah.
You know?
I believe that much for sure.
I think that's one of those things where you're just gonna start speaking and like you're not gonna be conscious of the words coming out, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, kind of. I guess to go back on track. What did I watch this week? My cousin spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve and Christmas here at my place. Granted, we went to my parents' place for Christmas, which is maybe
Sure.
30 minutes from me. But he lives in Texas now. He's originally from out here. So he stayed with his mom, I think, he stayed with his parents for like 4 days and then stayed with me the other 3. We're the same age, so we just kind of got to kicking and whatnot. So that was cool, but exhausting because like 3 days of spending time with somebody, like every day was like, all right, man. Like the moment he left, I was like, I took the longest nap ever.
Yeah.
But watched a ton of football, basketball around. What movies did we get to? We end up watching Friday After Next, which I would say is technically a Christmas movie. So that's the third Friday movie.
Sure,
It takes
arguable.
place- Yeah, it takes place on Christmas. So
Oh.
I guess you could say it's a Christmas movie. So we got to that.
There you go.
Somehow we worked our way to Hustle and Flow, which have any of you all seen that?
Nice.
I've not.
Not in a long time.
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't know. I don't know how
Yo.
that got brought up, but we somehow got to
That's
Flow.
wild.
That movie's awesome, man. That's the first time I saw that in a long time.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, dude.
Yeah.
That's like where I was like kind of like first bought in on Terrence Howard.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's got to be like maybe 04, 05, something like that.
03, 04, 05, yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range.
So, yeah, that's a good one. Adam, have you seen Hustle and Flow before?
Can't say I have.
No. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that's a good one. So yeah, we got to that. Watched a ton of Boondocks. We watched the Boondocks Christmas episode,
Hilarious.
which I know Nathaniel and Adam haven't watched Boondocks. Tyler's seen Boondocks.
No, I'm
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Hilarious show. And yeah, that's really it. Then kind of went to my parents on Sunday, so I was there with my aunts, uncles, grandma, cousins. That was cool. Nieces, nephews.
felt like-
whatever.
I felt like there was a lot more sports this Christmas than I remember being sports at
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah,
in the
I don't
past.
remember.
Usually there's only basketball, right? That's like the traditional, like how like Thanksgiving is always football.
Right.
However, Christmas or fall on a Sunday this year, so it was inevitable that NFL was playing.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
that's why you were able to
figured
get
that
like
out.
I don't know, it was like 4 NFL games and
Yeah,
like
there's a
4
lot.
NBA
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just the dumbest person alive. I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
no,
that
Which
makes sense.
I had a lot riding on those basketball games in my fantasy league. I beat my buddy Will James, the Long City Yitties is his team name, and my team prevailed. So
Yeah.
I was down about 58 points going into Sunday, and we came out on top. It was a big win.
Yeah, it was Actually, it was kind of mediocre day for the sports world.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I guess unless you're a Packers fan. Unfortunately, the fucking Packers won. I couldn't believe it. So I don't know. I'm starting to think they may make the playoffs, which is like very sad.
They could.
So, but yeah, that's all I have. So I'll spend the next 2 weeks rooting for the Lions and the Vikings to somehow beat the Packers.
Godspeed, good sir.
Yeah, man. We'll see.
I'm down for a little end of season, little tear.
Yeah. At one point, did you ever throw the towel in? Like, come clean on the podcast.
Oh yeah, bro. Like fucking 4 weeks ago.
I was like, yeah, you guys were like 1-6 at one point. I was like, there's no 2-6, whatever. I was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, I was like, well, my season's over. What else is on?
Yeah. Sure enough. So.
Yeah, bro, I'm die hard, but sometimes you just gotta realize like your team plays better when you don't watch them.
Oh yeah,
that is a very true statement.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Is anybody left?
I have not gone. Although now that I think back on it, I don't really think I've watched that much. I just have since I don't have like my TV here, I'd have to watch something on one of the TVs in like the common areas, and most of the time I get home from work and I either play video games or I have like something else to do, and then I go to bed. So I don't know. I've been playing. I just downloaded Marvel Snap. That's been fun. Playing.
Oh yeah, have you been enjoying that?
I have been enjoying that quite a bit. The games are so quick, and I love it. So it's like if I have 5 minutes, I can, or if I have 5 minutes, it's easy. Like I don't even need 5 minutes. Like I can get it done. You can get a round done quick depending on how fast you're playing. And I don't know if I'm just like if I need to rank up more, but like the people I play suck. I feel like I've lost less than 10 matches. Marvel Snap.
Yeah. Until you get to a certain class level, you play bots too.
Gotcha.
So,
that makes so much sense. The bots, yeah. I'm like looking at what these things are doing, and I'm like, what is going on? And yeah, that makes so much more sense because I'm like, real people can't be doing the dumb stuff that these things are doing.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
After a certain rank class.
I don't know what rank that is because I don't think I've reached it yet, but but it's been fun. I can't wait to get to an actual human, every match because I need to be tested in that game. I feel like my skills are too good right now, but I think I'm gonna get a reality check pretty soon. Then,
yeah, you will.
Yeah, but it's still fun. It's still a good time. And trying to think if we watched like a few Christmas movies on Christmas Day. We put on Elf, and then my aunt came over. She wanted to watch Holiday Inn, so we had that on the background.
Isn't Holiday Inn the White Christmas one?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't watching it that much. It was just on in the background. Watched a little bit of football on Christmas Eve. Watched a little bit of basketball on Christmas Day. It's been about it. It's been a busy week this past week. So, yeah. Kept trying to think of anything else. Some YouTube stuff, but like nothing major.
Sure, boys. Well,
yeah.
Should we talk about the movie?
What's
brought us all here today?
Yes. So the reason we have gathered on this glorious day of December 27th, soon to be December 28th if we keep recording long enough. Let's get into it. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, maybe they've just forgotten. Can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Yes, sir, I can. The way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter, if you are a new listener, or perhaps you've just forgotten, is that it's broken down into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. And in the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie's IMDb page, who wrote it, who directed it, who starred in it, all that good stuff. And then from then on, we'll go around the squadron, decide if we recommend this movie. It's got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And from then on, it'll be all spoilers. So any big plot points or any big spoiler moments through it, we will be talking about after that. Don't worry, we will have a noise for you. Or maybe we won't this episode. We might just have to call it out in the thing.
I almost did the voice changer, but then I was scared. I was like, I don't know if that's going to work how I think it does.
Yeah. I'm not
the blue one. The
sure.
blue
so
one's the voice changer, right?
Yeah.
Wait, hey man, I might have to switch headphones. I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But then it'll be spoilers. There'll be spoiler noise. There'll be something to delineate that it is now spoiler time, and we can then talk about any big thoughts or big deep feelings we have about the movie itself, and then do come back and see where it ranks up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we have watched on the podcast ranked. Adam, tell me about the Fabelmans.
I can't tell if there's like some kind of echo effect on the mixer or not, so maybe this whole thing's been having reverb. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Who cares? If it is, then this is the super cool reverb episode of Back Row Banter. Yeah.
Could you imagine listening to the whole episode
with like hella reverb? Yeah, this might be a lost ep. We'll have to see how it turns out at the end. I don't know.
It could be though. Could be a Patreon only release.
It could be, yeah. Patreon listeners in 10 years or 5 years, however long, paid X amount of dollars a month to listen to the reverb episode, or the reverb review of the Fabelmans. Oh God, wouldn't that be a kick in the head? This is the Fabelmans. It is a new film in the year 2022, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 31 minutes, and an IMDb rating of, would you believe it or not, 7.8 out of 10, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
That's actually higher than I thought.
Yeah. Right? Directed by Steven Spielberg and written by the aforementioned Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner. Who had Spielberg on their director's draft? You did, didn't you, Nathaniel?
I did.
Yeah, you did. That was your number one. That was your number one overall pick. Yeah.
Gotta go with him. Gotta go with my boy.
Of course. Starring, of course, Michelle Williams, Gabriel LaBelle, Paul Dano, returning to the pod, Judd Hirsch, Seth Rogen, Mateo Zorian, Keely Karsten, and Alina Brace. I think Julia Butters. Okay, I don't want to keep going. There's a bunch of people here. I think that's kind of the main family there that you see the most of, so we'll probably leave it there.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, yet again, killing it. This is now his third appearance on the list. Prisoners, Batman, now here.
This?
Yeah, I don't think he's been in anything else that's his, which is unfortunate because he's incredible.
He's awesome.
Yeah, dude,
for sure.
He's the best.
For sure. Did we do the summary?
We've not yet. No.
Okay.
I wasn't stopping. We weren't done yet.
No, you're good. You're good. I just couldn't remember.
The IMDb summary.
I lost 5 seconds of my life there.
You're good. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Growing up in post-World War II era Arizona, young Sammy Fabelman aspires to become a filmmaker as he reaches adolescence, but soon discovers a shattering family secret and explores how the power of films can help him see the truth. I don't like that. That's like so like, I don't even know. It feels like they just
use your words.
Pick parts. I don't know how to use my words. I just don't like it. It's yeah. What a raving review. I don't like it. That's my review.
Of the summary, not the movie.
Of the summary. I love the movie. We'll talk about that. But yeah, the summary. Okay, growing up in post-World War II era Arizona, sorta. I mean, he moves to Arizona when he's like what, 15, 16, 17, something around that. So did like he really grow up there? Also, post-World War II, I don't know why that's all that relevant. It doesn't seem like it was that relevant at all in the movie. I mean, obviously that's like the era and that's relevant, but the World War II, you could just say like the 50s. There's that.
Yeah.
Aspiring filmmaker, sure. And then the shattering family secret, sure. But then explores how the power of films can help him see the truth. It seems like he went on some kind of like quest to make films about his family and uncover the truth, which like was not the case. It was yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk more about that because I was about to go into some spoiler territory. Anyway, let's give you the actual better summary here since we kind of need to fill in. This is essentially an autobiography of Steven Spielberg when he was younger. This is kind of the Fabelmans could translate to the Spielbergs almost.
Yeah, they're
you know,
pretty loose stand-ins
Yes.
for his parents.
Yes, they're it's almost one for one in almost every way from what I understand, of his kind of like retelling of his childhood and like his adolescence and then growing up and basically up until his time. I think we see Sammy Fabelman from, I think we see him as young as like 6 or 7 years old all the way up to
Yeah,
about 18, 19.
18, 19.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty large
I
span
think
of
he's
time.
20.
Yeah, I think we see him at the end of towards the end of the movie. I think we see him at 20.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Not a big deal.
not that relevant. So, and essentially it covers Spielberg and how he fell in love with movies and started making movies, but also his family and how that influenced him with his movie making and whatnot. So that's all kind of wrapped up into this. So yes, the summary is loosely telling the truth, but you know, it's not how the summary made the movie sound. You know, going into it, if you know what this is, I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine walking in this theater and like not understanding that it's about Steven Spielberg? Like, I don't know if like you just don't know. You didn't know this was an autobiography and like a biopic.
Right.
And you're just like, why is this like this is an odd movie? I guess it still functions as a movie without that knowledge, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that gives you more context to understand the movie more. That you kind of need. So, you know, listener of the podcast, you now have that insider info. So I think that's enough of a summary, pre-spoiler summary.
Absolutely.
So we should be good there. What are our thoughts here, people? We saw this for Nathaniel's birthday bash thing. So we saw this all together in a theater full of friends. And close ones to Nathaniel, at least. I think I knew about 4 or 5 people in there, maybe 6, you know, but regardless.
Yeah.
So we all saw this together a couple weeks ago. Still relatively fresh in my mind. What are we thinking? I came away very positive, liked it a lot. But Nathaniel, since it was your birthday bash, I kick it over to you first.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall I definitely really enjoyed this. I think you know, in some ways it's a movie I think I'd wanted to see for a long time, you know, of a kind of, I don't know, it's not a biopic because it's not a one for one, you know, where they are truly just writing. It's not the same names or anything like that, but a loose adaptation of Spielberg's life and how he came to view movies and how he came to movies, I think, as well too. And then the choice of his to really focus not on himself and his own feelings growing up, and you know, his in just kind of by numbers, you know, that first I did this and then I did this and then I did that, but instead to set it on the family unit as a whole and kind of how his love of his craft and his interaction with movies, how that then affected his family and how that and vice versa, I thought was a really you know, elevates the film up to that Spielberg level in a lot of ways as well too. And then I think there was a ton of times in this movie where, in particular, people that may not always recognize Spielberg as the craftsman that he is got a chance to kind of really view that and stuff. Because I mean, everyone knows Steven Spielberg is these giant crowd-pleasing movies, you know, but if you're not in the know and watching movies like we do, you could also just assume he's another Michael Bay or something like that, you know, or some just really successful filmmaker. But there is a reason and a long history of him honing that craft, even from the start, that I think this really builds upon and kind of gives a nice window to. So I thought that was all very interesting. And then just the performances in this movie are all universally pretty much incredible. I think I came out of the movie and talked to the guys and was like, I think Spielberg found the 2 best actors he knew about in Michelle Williams and Paul Dano. And was just like, those are my parents.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I think pretty much across the board, everyone's really, really good in the movie itself. Big recommend from me. I will definitely go to bat for this one. Be interested to see kind of where it ends up on a lot of people's lists at the end of the year or something like that, or kind of where it ends up ranking on Spielberg's own hierarchy of movies. But yeah, big old recommend from me.
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of dive into it a little bit. I mean, to Nathaniel's point, I do think this is one of those films, as you can see from the IMDb rating, that will end up being high on most people's year-end list. Specifically,
Mm,
people who value film and kind of care for movies to the same extent we do, if not greater. Because I think that's
sure.
kind of what this audience is tailored to, right? So people are kind of aware of Steven Spielberg and things of that nature. Um, Overall, I thought it was pretty good. Paul Dano's just awesome, so I was kind of on board once I realized Paul Dano was the father.
Sure.
As far as like the children roles in there, I wasn't familiar with anybody who's playing any of the children. I don't know if you all are. Um,
I was not super familiar with that either, but that's a pretty standard Spielberg move to
okay, for
cast
sure.
kind of unknown children a lot of times as well too, and that kind of stuff. Because you think back even to like your Jurassic Parks or your Indiana Jones too, or anything like that as well too, and you can go down the list. Close Encounters, they're always kids that weren't
Mm,
great
good
actors at
point.
that time, or
Yeah,
E.T. Drew Barrymore, I guess would be the other one,
yeah,
but yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
yeah. No worries. But yeah, I mean, I would just say those are kind of just my brief. Say overall, wasn't really came out until Nathaniel brought it up. So to be honest, this is probably something I would not have seen if it wasn't for
Sure.
kind of Nathaniel pushing for it. But yeah, overall, definitely pleasantly surprised. Maybe not pleasantly surprised. I figured it would be good once I was aware of the type of film it was. I would say it meets expectations, and I would recommend it to anybody. Just kind of as a coming of age story, quote unquote.
Yeah, this one was an interesting one for the kind of recommendation, or for when I was choosing this movie for my birthday, because I didn't really want to do Avatar in like a smaller theater like that. So, and Avatar's 3 hours long.
For sure.
So, when I chose this one, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go with all my friends, but it's Spielberg, and I'm just going to trust it. And because I hadn't really heard too much about it yet either, so
Mm,
I was very pleasantly surprised as well too. I think, and it's okay to say you're pleasantly surprised.
yeah,
You're just It was a pleasant experience.
Yeah,
for sure. Ty or Adam?
I am kind of on the same boat as you guys. It was not a movie like I'd heard of it and I was interested in it, but it wasn't like probably it wasn't a movie I was gonna go see in theaters. If I hadn't if it hadn't been the movie we were seeing for Nathaniel's birthday trip to the AMC. So going into it, I was like, I'm sure this is gonna be good, but I don't really have many expectations for it other than kind of knowing what I knew about it and kind of just hearing overall good things. So I didn't really know what to expect fully. And I came out just like pleasantly surprised. Like I was kind of just expecting like another like okay, decent, good movie from Steven Spielberg, but I was like, this is actually one of like his better films that I've seen. Really, I think he it feels like a lot of the things he's been doing the past few years is almost like culminated into this, where like
Mm,
he seems more comfortable kind of going back to his old style, where I feel like maybe for a little bit he was trying to maybe adjust to like a newer style. And I think he's probably found a good middle ground. The acting, as we've already touched on, like I can't embellish that more than we already have. Like that is one of the highlights of the film through and through the entire cast, but especially Paul Dano, Michelle Williams, and Gabriel LaBelle as Sammy Fabelman, and taking on the role of quote unquote Steven Spielberg, like having to play the director as a child. I'm sure could not be an easy task or one that he was kind of I think that that's just a tough thing to do when you have the director who you have to like play him as a child. Like I'm sure
sure,
there's
yeah.
expectations there, and I think he kills it for the most part. I don't think he doesn't stand out to me as much as Michelle Williams or Paul Dano is, but like that's hard to do at that age. Like those are two established killer actors, and I think
Of
he holds
course.
his own against them. So I like that as well. Seth Rogen out of nowhere is like in this movie, and not only that,
Yeah,
but like really
yeah, I
good.
forgot about that.
And it's kind of disappointing that he's not in it more because I would have loved to have him in it more. But that was great, and yeah, overall really pleased. Aesthetically, this was something we talked about, Nathaniel. I think after we went back to your apartment, went back to your place, was the visual of the camera, the film grain kind of, and the fact that it looks like at least pretty sure it's shot on film, and the entire look
Right.
of that, like that was great. But also, I think we were talking about how like we don't really need more of this.
Yeah, it's particularly that kind of overexposed
Mhm.
effect. I think that
Yeah.
was very prevalent on the West Side Story
Yep.
adaptation he did last year, and then also popped up on this a couple times particularly in the Arizona scenes.
Mhm.
And I think that is also because I think, if I'm not mistaken, around that time, Spielberg's longtime cinematographer might have passed away or retired. So he switched to a different cinematographer, and I think
Mhm.
that this is one of the elements he's brought to that. But yeah, I think we can definitely kind of don't need that very sterile, almost grayed out, overexposed image in some of the movies, moved forward. But regardless, when it's a Spielberg movie, it's going to look amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's just part of what comes with the territory.
Yeah, I liked it. I think if he wants to do film, I think that's one thing, to continue to use film. That's fine. I love the film grain. I love like kind of what that brings to the picture. But correct, this aesthetic of like the overexposed, kind of oversaturated almost look with the film is not something I dislike, but something I don't need to see with every film of his going forward. So we'll see what he ends up doing on that side of things. But overall, I am definitely a recommend. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm a big recommend. I think this is a pretty cool perspective. I definitely didn't really know anything about it going into it. The only thing I really saw was, I guess really the only reason I kind of put two and two together was I was watching an episode of The Hot Ones, and Paul Dano was
Oh
on it.
yeah,
And
I heard about that.
yeah, and he ended up talking about this movie. So I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And he was like, yeah, Spielberg's dead. And I was like, what the fuck is this movie about? So then I started looking into it, and then I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this seems pretty good. And then watched the trailer, and I was like, all right, cool, run it. So yeah, I think it definitely exceeded my expectations. I thought it was a pretty good kind of coming of age story for Spielberg, and it was fun.
Well, what did Leah think? The big question. There wasn't any gore in it. So.
Yeah, no, I think it was just kind of one of those movies that she was kind of like, didn't hate, didn't love.
Yeah, fair enough. Probably what I imagine.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good viewing experience, of course, seeing it. That was kind of one of the, I think the first time that I've ever really had a full theater of like people that like I was, at least somewhat related to, or like had some kind of connection to, where I was like, it just wasn't a bunch of strangers that like I would never see again,
Yeah, I think there was like one point in the movie where someone in there just shouted something, and it was just kind of like broke the tension, and we were like, oh yeah, we all kind of know each other.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
we're all
it was Matt.
party. Yeah, I think it was Matt too. But yeah,
it's funny. I was telling Leah, I was like, my movie theater etiquette had been in the whole time, and then at one point I was like, but I don't have to. I could be an asshole.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Yeah, like you said, you're so ingrained in kind of like the movie theater culture. It's like we're sitting, like I'm talking to Adam. I'm like whispering like really quiet. Then I'm like, why am I whispering? Like I can just talk out loud, and nobody would be like, hey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So it was like really funny.
Or if they did, we would laugh at it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just funny how that stuff just goes a long way, man. But that's what 15 plus years of watching movies without a private theater.
Right.
So.
I don't know if I can go back. I think I'm gonna have to rent out every Dolby Atmos screening. Yeah. From here on out, I think I'm just gonna rent out the theaters.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, that's a recommend all around, which means it's time to get into the spoiler segment here. So if you have not seen Fabelmans, don't want to spoil it for you, check that episode description. You'll have a timestamp that will give you the skip over the spoilers, all that jazz. We're gonna go into spoilers. I'm gonna try to quickly figure out if I have a spoiler noise to play for you. Let's see if this is a noise.
I don't know. I can't tell.
It beeped in the headphones. I think we're good. It was I did the sensor.
All right.
I did the sensor noise for like a good 3 seconds, maybe 2.5.
Alrighty.
Still can't tell.
Easy enough.
It feels like there's reverb on the mixer. It might. I don't know. We're just gonna pray.
Could this be the reverb episode?
It very well could. We're just gonna hope and pray. Anyway, welcome to the spoiler segment. shit goes down. Kinda. Does it really go down? I mean, there's some anti-Semitism. That's
shit goes down in what is his name? Gary Fabelman. His journey as he grows up.
Sammy
Fabelman.
Gary.
I like Gary Fabelman.
Gary. I was like, are you talking about Paul Dano? I don't know.
No, that was Art.
Art.
Gary though. Where do I want to go with this? Non-spoilers. So the mom turns out wants to bang Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Did any of you guys pick up on that?
Yes.
Okay, for sure.
Before like he edits the film, I picked up on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of caught it at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Like that opening scene with their first talk.
It was pretty early on. And then what really sold it for me was you can't go without Benny. And I was like, why not? Why can't he go without Benny?
There's the shot where, and it's popped up on Twitter a couple times now that I've seen it since we've seen the movie. There's a shot where Sammy is showing the Boy Scout movie with the war film for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And Paul Dano is like, it's him, Michelle Williams, and then Seth Rogen all sat next to each other. And Paul Dano reacts and goes to turn to Michelle Williams and like share with her like how exciting it is that their son made this movie.
Yeah.
And the camera pans across him, cuts him out of frame, and then shows her shift to the Seth Rogen character and turn to him instead. And it is brutal as like an emotional piece for the viewer
100%.
just to see happen. And that's where, again, I just lean back on Spielberg's craft of that cause and effect kind of filmmaking, because this is happening. This is the effect. And that is the emotion, the tension that you have with the audience the entire time. What else was I going to say that I really enjoyed about this, besides just Paul Dano and Michelle Williams? I think. And it ends on the absolute incredible best joke of all time, where they say you're going to go and meet the best director there's ever been, and it's David fucking Lynch playing John Ford.
Yeah. Oh god, it was so good. The build up as well.
Yeah, it's like one of those galaxy brain jokes just for film nerds, that the fact that they have David Lynch playing John Ford in that, and it's just that's incredible. I love that movie. That moment that sealed the movie for me as like one of my favorite Spielberg's, I think, overall. Just ending that with that scene.
I liked it, but I will say, and this is something Blake and I both immediately said at the end of the film, was I felt like this film ended 4 times and it just didn't end for a good like 20 minutes after I thought it ended.
Yeah.
There was like 3 or 4 times that I felt like it could have ended, and then eventually we had a fade to white and I was like, that's got to be it, right? And then it's like 1 year later or 2 years later. And I was like, funny, God, dude, I love how he ended it, don't get me wrong, but we just need to get there sooner. Like, I don't know how we have to have that happen. Or just just don't make those last 4 beats that I thought were endings, don't make them feel like endings. It just felt like, I know he's trying to just tie up loose ends or kind of, skip us to where that John Ford scene happens, because, he gets that job. But I remember hearing in my film history course, like he basically, was it Warner Brothers? Because he got that job at CBS, but like
it was,
or was it Universal?
Sid Sheinberg. So it might have been Universal at the time.
Regardless, he got onto some Hollywood lot.
Yeah,
literally just snuck onto the Hollywood lot and like would sneak on for a few days.
He was the kid that where Scorsese, or not Scorsese, where Coppola and George Lucas and all of their friends were coming through the UCLA film school or USC film school at the time. The Spielberg was doing it. Handyman, I'm here at the lot. I'm kid, do you work here? Sure, I work here, kind of thing. And then just kind of hung around is always the legend anyways.
Yes.
And kind of learned his craft on the films themselves.
Yeah. So the fact that they had a little bit of that in there was cool. I wish, honestly, they would have shown him like just sneaking onto a lot and ended it that way. Like, I'm just gonna walk in or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the John Ford bit at the end was great, where he's like, "Where's the horizon?" He's like, "It's on the bottom." Yeah, all right, what about that one? It's on the top. He's like, "All right, cool. If it's on the top or the bottom, it's interesting. If it's the middle, it's boring as shit. Now get the fuck out of my office."
Yeah,
Like, what
that
a
was
great
funny, for sure.
last little ending to the movie, last few lines to the movie. Love it.
To talk about your kind of point there, Adam, with the feeling of the 4 kind of endings or the kind of beats, I think that ties back into like what you're saying, and I think you're correct that it does have that kind of feeling of those 4 endings. But I think partially why that happens sometimes is, particularly with directors or writers like Spielberg, they're so often linking their scenes together, with the one scene following into the next one on a but or a therefore or something like that, in terms of the story as it moves.
Yeah.
That when you get to the end and it's time to tie all of those scenes up or tie all those loose ends together, it's that 4 kind of stops and the movie loses that kind of forward momentum that it's had throughout the whole thing. And I'm wondering if that might be part of what you're kind of experiencing there as well too.
Could be.
But yeah, it's a good point. I do feel like you're right. It did feel a tad long in some sections, and it did feel like it was trying to figure out how it wanted to end.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even have necessarily a problem with the length. It's not like the movie felt overly long, but in the last 20 minutes when we started to have those 4 endings, those last 20 minutes, like, I don't mind if they're there. The way it flowed together just made it feel like I was like, "Oh, we're done. Oh, wait, no. Oh, we're done. We're done. No, I think we're done." Like, by the time the movie actually ended, I was like, I stood in my seats until I saw credits, because I was like, I don't know if this is
Wasn't
over.
sure.
I just wasn't sure. But you know, I don't think this is not the only movie to have that problem, and it's Steven Spielberg. No. I'm more forgiving of him than anyone else, really. So, you know, it's a small gripe to say you can't end a movie that was overall really good. So I think that's not detracting from the overall quality of it too much.
For sure.
Yeah. What are our thoughts on this whole bully? It's hard to say plot line, because I believe that it happened, but you know, this whole bully sequence, we should say, maybe, of the high school kind of thing, because it starts out feeling like that's going to be the main kind of beats of him being in high school, is like he's got these bullies he's got to deal with, but then like that becomes only half of it. Then he's got a girlfriend that's kind of that ends up being the other half of it, but then like the bullies come back towards the end. I just feel like I don't know where that came from a little bit, because also the other thing, and I think I told you guys after the film, was I saw something on Twitter. I don't know if this was verified or not, but basically Steven Spielberg's high school friends came out and said how he never actually had a girlfriend in high school, or at least one, or had any kind of relationship like that. And so I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why he necessarily put that in the movie, if that's the case. Now, I didn't investigate further into those statements on whether that was true or not. But say it wasn't true, I don't understand why he puts that in there, because I believe more of the bully side of things, that he probably went through a lot of that kind of discrimination going to California.
I think there's some kind of probably a way to kind of keep him interesting as a character, and not just because it's easy to say that he was a movie like nerd and just didn't have a girlfriend. I think it's a little more to one of those things that you can just fib a little and just add a little bit more, especially because she's Christian as fuck, and it absolutely adds so much more depth to his awkwardness of growing up.
That was so funny when she's when you go to her room and it's all Jesus.
That's one of the funniest scenes.
Just pray with me and shit. Yeah, I was fucking dead. Yeah. And like I'm a relative. Like I'm not like I haven't gone to church in a while, but like, you know, I pray and stuff like that. But it's funny to see like such an extremist on that side,
especially in the 1950s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Bringing up your point there, I think I think it is to mirror or to bring in how his parents' relationships had affected him in the future, or like at that time of growth kind of thing. And I think it's to have that contrast between how it is affecting him and how it would affect him in related relationships. And I think also, and this is just from kind of watching documentaries and everything, kind of like, and that knowing a little bit more about Spielberg too, his kind of growth in his own Jewishness and kind of what that means to him, I think has been a much bigger part of his later career, particularly after his first marriage, which I think it might have been to a Christian lady or something like that. I can't say 100%, but did fail. And then his next wife actually converted to Judaism to be with him and everything like that, and that stuff. So I think it might be him telling more of his backstory just at a later date and just setting it earlier kind of thing, and to have it as kind of that mirrored stuff. And that's again why you don't necessarily go into full biopic or biography territory. It's more this kind of loose adaptation. Sure. But again, maybe that's just me no prizing it. I think also, to your point, that is the most kind of uneven set or uneven set of scenes in the film in terms of you as the audience not knowing exactly what you're supposed to think about different characters at a certain time or anything like that.
Yeah, it just felt like that was definitely the place that it just didn't fit as well as the other film or parts of the film.
It was definitely the least fully baked portion.
Sure, of course, yeah. Whereas like I felt like if he stuck with the bully plot line and kind of had to flesh that out more, that could have maybe serviced the film and fit the film a little bit better. Because I just feel like we lost. We had. It almost felt like, if that was like a little mini arc in say the film, we had the like the incitement of it, of the build up between the two, but then like it got sidetracked, but then we had the climax between him and the bully. And I just like if it just when that Ditch Day film debuted, there was payoff for that. And there was payoff in the fact that he had reconciled with Logan, I think was the name of the bigger guy. Or no, Chad? No, Chad? I don't remember this character's name. Hang on.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but anyway, the top dude, his name is Logan. Okay. Chad is the other one. Okay, I had the names right. Wow. Just had him reversed for a sec. Logan is the guy he reconciled with. And that was cool. That was a good moment. And Chad, the fact that he's still a loser, like that's cool. But we kind of I felt like we only had a little bit of that. And then we kind of focused on his whole relationship, and then we were like supposed to like still be attached to the whole conflict between him and the bullies. And I wish we kind of, and it not, I wish we maybe would have thread in the bullies more with that relationship in some ways, because they were connected, and he got that girlfriend because of those bullies, and like there didn't seem to be much fallout from that relationship happening. And whereas like if we had thread more of that in with the relationship, it would have had a little bit better payoff when we had that reconciliation moment with the two, with Logan and Chad, and that kind of whole thing at the end. So, and if I had to guess, that feels like something that may have come down to like cuts like of the film, kind of maybe getting cut out of like bits between the bully and him, because you kind of
somewhere in the editing process.
Exactly, it maybe got cut out of the movie because it's already at 2.5 hours, and it seems like there's maybe more they wanted to do. Because if I'm Steven Spielberg at, I don't know how old he is, 80 something.
He's not that old.
No, 70 something. Well, if he was,
he's in the 70s. He's in the 70s for sure.
Steven Spielberg. He's 76. Okay, I apologize. So close to 80 though. He's 4 years off.
Round it up.
Yeah. Okay, 76. Anyway, if I'm Steven Spielberg at 76 and I'm trying to make a biopic of my age 6 to 19, I don't know if I could fit that in 2.5 hours. Like there's a lot there. So the fact that he got it into 2.5 is pretty impressive, and I'm sure he kind of had to work around some things. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
I did see a tweet that was like, real shame that we could have lost the best director of all time if his parents had just decided to be in a throuple instead of
right
a divorce or whatever.
I had no idea that his dad was like a computer genius. Like I thought it was like gonna be kind of like a funny thing. Like you see all these films where like, oh, the dad like loves computers, but he's like it's just a hobby kind of thing. But like, no, his dad apparently, according to this film at least, again, I don't know, I haven't looked into it further, was like actually like working for IBM and like almost like a Steve Wozniak, it seems, of like computing and stuff. Like, I had no idea that was a thing. That's pretty cool.
Tyler, Blake, any other big thoughts towards the end? Blake, you were definitely the one I was like, when we were going into this, I was like, ooh, this might be one for him that he's not 100% in. But
Yeah,
I was trusting in Spielberg. I was trusting in Spielberg that he was going to be able to get you over the line.
For sure. I mean, definitely not the film that would be up my alley. But I mean, honestly, overall, it wasn't too bad. It's pretty much what I would have envisioned a movie like this to be once you kind of confirmed that it was going to be about his life story growing up and things of that nature. Didn't really expect like the wife affairs and things of that nature to be in there, but overall, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I think I was going to be surprised. I think I was going to be I should say not surprised. I think I was going to be okay with it as long as we had Paul Dano in there. And
for sure,
there were some redeeming qualities though. I mean, Seth Rogen is fucking hilarious, and that's one I didn't really know Seth Rogen was in this at all. And then he just kind of like comes in, and you hear his voice one time, and then you actually
or
see
his
him.
laugh.
Yeah, and then I'm like, hang on, is that Seth Rogen? And then he walks in the camera. No fucking way. So like, I was like cool with that. But yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's one that's gonna appease the masses. And even though if it's not specifically for me, I can't say that I wouldn't recommend it.
What was we talked a lot about Paul Dano and Seth Rogen obviously as well too, but Michelle Williams being the other one that kind of carries this as well too. What did you think of her kind of characterization as the mom? I would say, and this is open for everyone, not just Blake. I'm not targeting him there or anything.
I think she did good. I think she had a good range of. Obviously, she's kind of like in a love triangle, and I think the scene was really good where I can't even think of his name. Paul Dano, right? He says he's going to take the job to go wherever they're going to go. I totally forgot where it is. And then she kind of like takes the kids out like in a tornado, like in a rage. And you kind of see her break down at the steering wheel. I think that was a really good range of emotion for her to kind of show that. And it just portrays somebody who's obviously just in a bad mental spot.
Yeah, you can tell she just.
A lot of people can relate to that.
From early on, she's just like not in the right headspace.
For sure.
Which carries on kind of throughout the film. I think he does an excellent job of like. He portrays both of his parents as both the hero and the villain of the story almost, where his mom is causing a lot of the conflict, but you can definitely understand her conflict within herself because she's not in the relationship that she envisioned or feels comfortable in that she wanted, like when she was younger, and then she has that relationship with Benny, but it's not like her dad's fault because his dad's just being his dad. Like his dad's just doing his own thing. Right. He loves his computers. He loves his family, and he's just a good person. But he's not the fun, spontaneous, artful, creative, funny kind of personality and light persona that Seth Rogen and Benny is. And so like you can't be mad at either of them, but you're also like it's both of their faults. So it's really weird interesting how he
nuanced.
Yeah, exactly. It's nuanced as fuck because he plays both of his parents as both kind of like at fault but also helpless to the situation, which is so interesting to have that point of view on the situation because I think a lot of people in that kind of situation would maybe pick one side or the other. Like maybe he viewed his dad as not doing enough to support his mom, or he viewed his mom as selfish or something like that, and I think he kind of threaded the line there pretty well between the two of them. And I think it's interesting that he's kind of, after all these years, come out with that conclusion and then decided to portray it that way.
And that is something that he talks about in that HBO documentary I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Spielberg.
Damn it, I need to check that out.
But he talks in there about how he blamed his dad for a lot of the years because he didn't actually know that his mom was the one that wanted the divorce. That was kept from him for a long time as well too. So he said that he had a long time of kind of being away from his dad where they didn't really speak much until later on they did reconcile and it kind of came out what really happened there and everything. So I think that definitely plays into that, what you're kind of describing of that nuance thing, because that was part of what he had to do. That's why he's making this movie at 76 and not 50,
Not 80. He's 76.
Yeah, or not 80. Yeah. Fabelmans 2, maybe.
Yeah, it's 20 to 80 in this Fabelmans 2, and it's also 2.5 hours long. How does he do it?
And it's all shot on high frame rate because James Cameron's doing it.
Exactly, it's high frame rate, but the movie plays at 2.5 times speed, so you kind of have to keep up.
Final thoughts?
No, I mean, I really liked everything. I'll definitely probably go back to it for sure. I think one of the cool things for me was kind of seeing his interest in film and seeing him come up with things. And, and obviously he's probably not the first one to come up with said things, but he may very well have been, but like poking a pinhole through the film and letting the light shine through with the gunshots is really fun. And just really smart to see how, some early onset things, and it kind of makes your mind start moving on, what else have we come up with and where did all these other brilliant shots come from? And then you get like the baby stroller on like the wood and, pushing it along in the dust and everything like that. So I really like that aspect for sure. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I thought everything was pretty good. It's really cool to always kind of get a peek inside, whether there's things are exaggerated or not, kind of throughout, it's at least loosely based off of what he experienced, whether it was at that time frame or, like we said, him putting other parts of his life in there, even though it happened at a later date. But still just really interesting, really fun to see, where these kind of geniuses of our time kind of came from and what their mindset was, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about how like we kind of see Spielberg, like what made him fall in love with filmmaking, which is like really cool to see. Like one of the best to ever do it, and then you see what made him want to do it, which is really cool to see. And then also tagging off of what Tyler was saying, like the fact that we get to see something like this from such a genius like Spielberg is when it comes to film. I wonder if we'll see more biopics like this from the director of like his own thing, because we have like famous people will write autobiographies, say, but I think it was a really interesting choice to. I mean, Steven Spielberg's medium is film, and so he made an autobiography in the format of film rather than say write an autobiography, it seems. Right. I wonder if we'll see more of that, because I think it was like, I don't know if we had anything like that. Can you think of anything, Nathaniel, where it's like directed from the director about himself? Because I can't think of anything.
At it. I'm sure there's something out
I'm
there.
sure that maybe like
a Truffaut or a film or something from the French New Wave or something.
Oh yeah, the French New Wave is all over that.
John Malkovich.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I don't know. I thought it was really, really unique and creative. So props to Spielberg. Definitely a good one. Are we all good to head on out of spoilers?
I think so.
Cool. Well, welcome back, listeners, who skipped over. You know what I realized? I keep saying welcome back, but like for them, no time passed.
They never
left. So like, hello. Maybe I'll just start saying hello, listeners. What's up? I hope you had a fun time scrolling through the timeline to find the timestamp. We're going to go ahead and rank the Fabelmans upon the Entropy list, which is our list of every movie we've reviewed ranked compared to one another. And it's essentially how we rate the movies, rather than out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever that is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. The Entropy list, if you want to see it for yourself, is in the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. The Fabelmans. This is a tough one, but if they get harder and harder as this list gets bigger and bigger, because I feel like we say this is gonna be a tough one every week.
You're probably not wrong there.
Yeah.
Well, this is hard because it's kind of a one of one right now on our list. So you don't really have like you don't really have like a mesh point to go from, right?
West Side Story?
What is the exact middle point?
West Side Story is the closest thing we can come, but that's an outlier a little bit at 108. I think that's not necessarily a filmmaking fault as much as a story and content fault that has it that low. Because we talked about the best thing we talked about that movie with was like this as a filmmaking piece of art is incredible, but we just don't vibe with the movie itself that much. Where I feel like we definitely vibe with the content of this, and it's got similar artistry. So I don't know where this kind of ranks in comparison to that. It's a good pregnant pause. Your podcast did not stop. It did not stop playing. I know you checked your phone. I know you were like, "What happened?" That is not your phone. It is us thinking.
I currently can't see the list because I'm using my phone to record here as well too.
Yeah, you can close Discord. We don't need to see your face.
Okay,
we're good. This is tough for me because like I see a section that I want to place it at, and it feels too low. But then I look at the movies, and I'm like, this can't. Like, does this go above here?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
It's more of like an overall enjoyment thing too. Like a lot of these movies I just really enjoy because I liked the content. I had a lot of fun watching them, and like I enjoyed this movie, but for a lot of different reasons, but maybe not to the same extent overall.
Yeah.
So it might be more of a gut one. What are you looking at, Ty?
Well, because like I look at something like Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this movie's better than that.
Yeah.
But then I see like Weathering with You, Paid in Full, and then I think this is better than District 9 and Nightmare Alley. But then you got like fucking Blade.
Yeah, Nightmare Alley snuck up there pretty high. District 9, I don't think it's bad.
And then like, I really like Pinocchio.
Pinocchio we got all the way at 62.
And then like, Prey was fucking dope. X was fucking dope. So I think,
dude, you're sinking me way lower than I was before.
I know, bro. I'm sorry.
As you talk through this, I'm like, oh my god.
I know. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna go with. I'll go 68 because I'm not willing to put it above, like a lot of the movies out there, but I'll sacrifice some of my like loved ones that are below that because 68. this is still a good movie.
Okay. I like that. 68 below X, above Last Night in Soho. That's fair. That's valid.
I'm gonna go. Oh, go ahead, Blake. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, my bad. I was gonna say I'm kind of close to Ty. I don't think I can put it above X or Prey. I also think I'm gonna take the leap and say I don't think I can put it above The Conjuring 2. So I'm gonna put it at 70.
Holy shit.
73. So above The Last Duel. And below Conjuring 2.
Guys, so this is gonna get Oscar nominations
in there.
I know it is.
Like this might get a Best Picture nom, and it's at 73.
That's okay. It's a good list.
That's the beauty of the Entropy list. It truly is.
I think I'm gonna go 58, right above Nightmare Alley, right below District 9. Nightmare Alley was the one on there on the list where I kind of looked at it and just felt this most similar tone, I guess, in kind of like a director going back to a certain time period, one that they, obviously want to go through, a very personal project to them, and kind of working on all of their, cylinders, but maybe isn't like the giantest crowd pleaser that they've ever done or anything like that. But I do think this is a cut above Nightmare Alley overall. I think, it's just where it's at. So I'm going to put it at 57, 58, below District 9, above Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
With the contention that I'm killing some of my darlings down there below that as well.
You are, but at this point where the list is at, you're killing somebody. Like, there's no way to get a clean cut ranking. What's tripping me up more than I ever expected it to is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. That thing aged on me so well. I loved that movie now that I think back on it. And, like, I almost like it more than I liked this movie. But then I look at the movies above Pinocchio, and I'm like, Nightmare Alley, I definitely enjoyed this more than Nightmare Alley. Blade is, like, fun, but it's such a different movie, so it's like, I think I need to give it Spielberg his comeuppance, his due. I think I'll go 56 below Weathering with You. I think Weathering with You is kind of like where my personal hard line is like, I love that movie. And then Power the Dog. And, I look at the ones above it and I'm like, I like those quite a bit. So I think 56 is where I can kind of cut the slack for Spielberg a little bit on our list and give him a little bit of middle ground, which will give us an average ranking of 63.75, meaning we would have to tie break it with Malignant. Now, let's see here. Malignant has it has a 6.2, which definitely means it is getting bumped. Do we want to put it above or below Malignant as a Back Row Banter tiebreak? I'm cool with putting it above.
Honestly, I'm cool with either or. I think it's funny that it ends up next to Pinocchio if it's above Malignant, but I also think it's funny if it's below Malignant as well too, just as like those two back to back to each other.
Pinocchio, Malignant, Fabelmans is a hilarious combination.
I say we stick to IMDb.
Above? Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all need to stop being like, oh, I don't care. Like, have an opinion, please. We need IMDb.
You just said above Malignant.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. You're fair enough. I feel like once a week, every time I do this, anytime we have to tie break, there's at least one of us that goes, whatever. We need to start being more decisive, people.
It's just like one of us is just like past the point of no return. We're just like, I don't care.
Yeah, true. There are a few where it's like, well, my ranking doesn't even matter at this point. Like, it's so far out of where I wanted it, so it doesn't matter. All right. Well, anyway, we'll stick Fabelmans above Malignant, which I think is valid. Loved Malignant, but I think Fabelmans is just very strong in its own right. Anyway, that leaves it below Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio and above Malignant. I loved Pinocchio. I wish that was higher now that I look back at it. Such a wholesome movie. It stuck with me, I think back fondly on that now. You know what I don't think back fondly on? That was going to be a loose segue. I'm going to ruin it quick. It was going to be a loose segue to the fact that we actually don't have a movie for next week.
My God.
We forgot to schedule next week. We only figured out. So I think Postpod Adam is here. Hello? Hello. Yes, I am here. Postpod Adam, your favorite host. I'm here to let you know that we are going to review Good Will Hunting for our next week's episode. We decided we needed a feel-good movie. It's been a long holiday season for us, the winter and the darkness. We can't escape it. It's cold, it's dark all the time, and we just need something to lift our spirits, and hopefully you agree, and hopefully you also check out Good Will Hunting, which is currently streaming on HBO Max, so you can check it out there, and then you can join us next week for our review. Back to you, Adam. Wow, I am so excited for that film. Thank you, Postpod Adam. You're my favorite host. That's it for the review segment here. Join us next week for that review. Nathaniel, 5-star review. Do we have one?
I'm not gonna do a 5-star review this week.
Yes, you're a little limited. We might as well spread out the wealth. I have not checked the email. I can do that fairly quickly, so stand by, listeners. Tyler Phil, it's been a while. Too late. I already checked the email. I'm just that fast. We have no emails, but you can change that.
You're welcome.
You can change that. Send us an email to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Like I said before, let us know what you got for Christmas movie-wise. If you got any cool signed posters or cool movies you're excited to check out, let us know. Send us any questions you have as well, maybe movie review suggestions, whatever it is. Send it our way, backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Share the podcast, of course. Share with a friend, a family member, and a family member. I think that fits with this film. Yeah. 2 family members.
Yeah.
It was just the holidays. You're seeing your family and friends all the time. If you haven't brought up Back Row Banter at your Christmas dinner, you're doing it wrong, folks. I know from experience, it's a great conversation starter. So definitely share that around. We really appreciate that. After you do that, you can follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, where you'll get your first updates on episode delays, episode cancellations, movie changes for what we're reviewing every week, whatever it is. Follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter, short and sweet. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, the BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging some things. Got a few on the list this week, as I detailed before, and we'll keep going from there. So Letterboxd, BlakeHolder, and Popcorn Ty.
Twitch.tv/UltraBajo87. Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, all. Tyler Vidalis. Nathaniel.
Nathaniel G92 on Instagram, NS Gingrich on Twitter and Letterboxd, I want to say. Or those might be flipped. Whatever. Figure it out. Other
It's in the
podcast,
description.
Sandpiper Tapes. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Adam?
Cool. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aish, on Twitter at Aish24, and on Letterboxd at Aish. That's AYYSH. Thank you all for listening to episode 130. A nice round number. Join us next week for whatever Postbot Adam told you to review. And we'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and Happy New Year when this is coming out. I think the next time you'll hear us, it will be a new year. So hope you have a good rest of your year and enjoy it, and see you. Tyler?
Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, hope you had a great Christmas and all your other holidays that you might have. And yeah, Happy New Year. That's pretty cool. Another year down for the crew. So congrats.
Year 4 of Back Row Banter.
Yeah, and
on the pod.
That's crazy when you think about it.
2020,
Yeah,
2021,
thanks,
2022, now 2023. That's 4 years, baby.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. And just be good to one another. Spread love, and we will be RB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. So happy holidays to everyone. Everyone stay safe, and wishing for a good 2023. We'll be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
You're so pretty.
I am, thank you.
Fuck are you watching? No.
It's that was actually my phone, and I realized that. So like a huge pet peeve of mine is like when I'm around somebody, I open a video and the volume's on like massive.
High as fuck.
And that's what just happened to me. But for context, the video is somebody looking at a bobcat on like their Ring doorbell or some shit. So the lady's like, "Oh, you're so pretty," but that sounded insane. Just with no
Nah, it's
context.
funny. It's funny.